Hello and a warm welcome into Sit Still Look Pretty. It's finally the month of September and we have quite the topic for you. Honestly, when I read this topic, I thought, why is she bringing the Halloween episode a month forward? Because the topic...
Stop! The guest speaker also asked me the same thing. Okay? The guest speaker of this episode, when I texted the guest speaker and said that I want to have you on this episode and this is the episode title, the guest speaker went, okay, but it's not October, it's September. Did you decide to bring this forward or what? And I was like, no, because we are not celebrating Halloween.
But to give the audience a little bit of context, the theme of today's episode is trick or treat. Now tell me that it doesn't sound like Halloween, Miss Priyanka.
It was supposed to be cutesy, you know?
Yeah, but I think it bodes very well with our guest speaker for this month's episode. Basically, we've taken on the route of talking about tricks, which refers to risks, doubts, challenges, and fears that we face when we are pursuing life. Whereas treat recalls the rewards that you reap for the tricks you have conquered. And that's essentially the route that we want to take. And the innuendo on the word trick or treat will make a lot more sense when you realize that our guest speaker is actually very good with his tricks and treats.
That's right. But before we dive into our guest speaker and all that he has to share, I thought it would be very cool for us to also give our point of view on this topic, trick or treat. Because I feel, Priya, we had a fantastic start to the month of September and it's now feeling them on the details on why September was such a good month. I mean, it was beyond our imagination and that's the reason that inspired me to even come up with this episode topic, I feel.
I'm sure some of you may already know, based on our previous episodes, if you were listening, that Abhinayam, our first documentary together for our final year in Poly, got its first official screening. It happened on the 1st of September, and can I just say, it was the most surreal moment of my entire life, because we made that film 5 years ago and it did not see the light of day till 2024, September 1st. I don't even think we realized how much we wanted it to be showcased till it happened. Because I feel like we sort of made our peace. We were when the time comes, it'll come. It's fine. It's But then we got the opportunity and oh my God, I think me and Priyanka just lost our marbles. We were like, wait a minute, this is the greatest moment of our lives. This is what we wanted all along.
I think when Priya and I were talking about this off camera, Priya brought up this very good point, which I feel like I failed to see, because when it comes to trick or treat, right? At the end of the day, trick is basically us putting in the effort and doing all the things, but you have no expectations or whatsoever. It's also when you face enormous challenges. And I feel like during the making of Abhinayam, there was so much going on. And it was the first time ever that two little girls, aged 21 and 20, how much do we exactly know what the hell we are doing is actually right? That's one thing. Number two, that we had a fund of X amount of dollars from an organization, Honor Singapore. And there was the weight of ensuring that what you're delivering suits the judging panel, because at the end of the day, they will come back to review our film as well. We were liaising for music. There was photo shoot. All these things were beyond the means of a 20 and 21-year-old. I know they always say that don't talk about people's age. People can achieve a lot. But I just want to say at that point of time, there's only that much of resources and brain capacity that two girls carry. We were fresh out of our internship and things like that. So at that point of time, you are very right, because you told me off camera that, Priyanka, it just boils down to whether or not we were satisfied with the film. And so when I finished Abhinayam and I saw Honor judging panel's reaction, they were very pleased and very happy with the film. I was very happy with the film at that point of time as well. I was really, really proud.
I think because we really worked to the bone to ensure this film had all that we wanted in it.
Yeah,
You know?
Because I think, I don't know whether you realized it, but I know at the back of my mind, this is such a strange thought to have, but at the back of my mind, something kept telling me that, Priyanka, you're not going to have this, like anytime soon. So now is the time that you just pour your heart and soul. So I can still remember, Priya and I won't go back home. It's like literally, I think I spent like 23 hours of a day with Priya.
It was pretty bad. I don't know how we survived that, because I feel like if we were to live that life now, we would not survive, because like basically we would like meet each other at like 9 a.m. and then we would spend like till the evening together. We would go back home, shower, and then go back to Starbucks at Orchard, and then spend the entire night till morning together, till 7 a.m. Then we'll go back home, get showered, dress up, and then go back to school. Like that was our life for a really, really long period of time. It's not healthy, not recommended. But I think...
Thank you for the disclaimer.
Yeah, definitely not recommended. But I think it just showcased two girls who were very much like crazy about what they wanted to do, and they wanted to give it justice. So if it meant sleepless nights, then so be it. And honestly, to be very frank with you, Priyanka, I don't feel like, we were like losing sleep, or we were tired, because I feel like we didn't even have time for those thoughts to like cross our minds. It was just like, okay, we got to get this done, we got to get this done, we got to make this happen, we got to make that happen. It was just... we were having the time of our lives.
Yeah. And I would also like to say another disclaimer of, now when I think back, right, I realized how selfish we were during that point of time. Because I can still remember this very well. Priya and I didn't give zero shit, right, about like what was happening at home, or like whether or not like our families were happy that we were coming back home at 3 a.m. or whether or not our friends were like okay with like us like working this way, whether or not we were going to school at the like right timing. We were so selfish, but we were so selfish in a good way, because we just wanted to pour our heart and soul into this. So you can imagine how it felt like walking into our screening on the 1st of September and like seeing it on a big stage. And like, I really feel like this is something that in my wildest dream would I have ever slept and like thought that one day I would see it get this much of recognition. Like what you say, right? I feel it being screened already is my biggest joy, my biggest happiness, but not because of anything else that like I wanted our crew to be recognized. That wasn't it. I really wanted it to be screened just because of one thing. Shout out to Ambiga. She has brought so much of light into Priya and my life when we were working with her during that point of time to create this documentary. So the amount of like anticipation that I had, and I wanted people to really walk away with everything that we got, because it was so selfish that only we had this, right? But nobody else got to experience it other than my team, of course, who saw the work. So when it got screened, it was just that for me. It's the fact that, okay, now the world knows what Abhinayam is about. They know Ambiga's story.
And so my family finally knows why I've been being so selfish. Like all the friends who are probably very pissed off with the both of us finally got to see like, hey, this is the reason. Yeah.
When good things happen in your life, I feel like I'm also starting to take like 2 steps back to evaluate the kind of person that I have become. I feel like I have grown to be someone who knows how to deal with things when it goes bad. And I feel that for the both of us. We know how to deal with situation now when it's very bad, when it's rock bottom. If it gets worse tomorrow, I know for a fact that me and Priya will still figure a way out. But I'm starting to realize that we don't know how to deal with a situation when it's good. Like, we don't know how to enjoy something when it's good. Because the truth is, as the screening was going on, this was so funny. They were going to play Abhinayam, and Priya turns to me and go, Priyanka, are you okay? I choose to believe that I was behaving to you normally on that day.
You were. I think it's just that something that I sensed as somebody who's your soulmate. You weren't like overreacting, but like I could feel the waves like coming off of you. I was like, she ain't right. I need to check in real quick. She was gonna go up on stage after that. And we've got a certain branding that we need to maintain.
But no, jokes aside, it was very sweet. I was very touched because, I was really crumbling on the seat, when they were about to play. I was like, oh my God, oh my God. And then as it went on, Priya, like I said, oh God, my headache kicked in. I was having pounding level of like headache during my screening. When I was on stage, right, I swear, it felt like my heart could drop out from the stage, I was shaking like, thank freaking God, I was wearing like a long skirt, I was shaking so bad. And the worst part is I've never ever felt this ever in my life. When you walk out from a screening and everyone is trying to tell you something, cutest part, Priya goes, what did X person try to actually tell you? Me, I don't know. They were saying a lot of things, Priya. I don't know what was coming. So like, I know that I was there and I wasn't there. Like, I was so happy, but I also couldn't comprehend like what was happening before my eyes. It was so overwhelming. And then came the next day, the radio interview on Money FM. So grateful. It's truly a big dream come true. And that's it. Like from then on, I just felt like I crumbled that day in a way that I've never crumbled before, because suddenly it went to this headspace of all these good things that's happening in my life. Like, I don't deserve this. I don't think we deserve this platform. I think my head went to the extent of so many people create films. So many people pour their heart and soul into it. So much of money goes invested. And so many people don't get to see the light of day, including ourselves. It took us 4 damn years for it to be shown like at a screening place. For people around us to understand like why we choose to do what we choose to do, Now I know for a fact that if I were to vouch for this at home, people would be like, okay lah, maybe can give her 5% of a chance, she might make it,
But I feel like that's the reality of like how the world works sometimes, right? It's just the fact that there's probably going to be people out there who put in the equal amount of hard work we've put in, or even like more into their films. And like, you can name the opportunity to showcase your film for like 90% hard work and like 10% luck. And that 10% luck, right, like really determines whether you get the opportunity to then like showcase your hard work. And I feel like we just got that 10% of luck finally after like 4 years, and it worked out for us. But yeah, I feel like sometimes that's the brutal reality of things, you know?
Right, yeah. Which is why I feel like it also brought me down this rabbit hole of like, I think I couldn't comprehend the reality and unfairness of life as to why like certain people are chosen, as to why it takes such a long wait for you to like, have your so-called breakthrough. And then comes the next question of like, okay, now that I've earned this, or at least that's how I work. My brain, that's how it works. It's always, okay, now that I have this star badge, what is next? Because naturally everyone around you is going to ask you like, so what is the next film? What is the next documentary? What's the next story that like inspires you? I know for a fact that I always talk about the next story with Priya, something that I really want to create, and it's something that has always been on my mind. So I know for a fact that this is something that I absolutely love. And I know this is something that we will absolutely continue to do. But it is not something that has a specific time frame to it. I don't know whether it will come into fruition in another 1 more year, whether it's going to take the next 10 years later, Priya and I work on the next like big thing. But yeah, I guess that I just want to sum up this whole episode by saying your trick and treat of like any moment of your life, I feel like it's a very fine line between getting your tricks right, meaning playing according to how it goes. For us, it was just doing the film and ensuring we are satisfied with the product. And then your real treat comes in when things picks up, and sometimes that is really not in your hands. If Abhinayam didn't get screened, does that mean that it is a bad work and it's like a bad story and like, no?
And that we would no longer create stuff together? No.
Yeah, no.
It was always in the pipeline, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess this is where I guess they say pick your battles very wisely, because it can truly break you or create something like phenomenal for you. So now we have given our take on this topic on Trick or Treat. Our guest speaker who's invited today on this podcast is a gem and an icon of our fangirl moment for Priya and I, because we have wanted to have him on this podcast for quite some time. But I was just trying to find which episode allow him to show himself the best way. And I'm really excited.
It was the Halloween episode, but it's okay. We will let Priyanka pass this one. We have a really special guest here in the studio with us. We have none other than Mr. Kyle Ravine. Welcome.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us on Still Look Pretty. We have an amazing introduction to introduce you on the show.
No lah, save
So
it
you can
lah.
sit back and relax. Kyle started his journey in the entertainment industry at just 7 years old with a simple deck of cards and a few magic tricks. Fast forward a few years later, and he's now a multi-talented entertainer who has not only mesmerized audiences with his magic, but also conquered the world of television, event hosting, and radio. As a teenager, Kyle performed magic tricks at children's parties, and before he knew it, he started starring in his own TV show on MediaCorp Vasantham. Titled as Maya, which means illusion in Tamil, it ran for 2 full seasons with multiple reruns, captivating audiences with his illusions and unique style. From there forth, he has gone on to break multiple records in the Singapore Book of Records, including the most straitjacket escapes in 1 hour and performing Singapore's first ever underwater magic show. He continues to push boundaries of what's possible, whether it's mastering the art of emceeing at high-profile events or becoming a beloved radio personality on 1FM 91.3. Today, we will be diving into Kyle's journey, how he navigated the tricks of doubt, fear, and challenges, and how he's found the treats of success, fulfillment, and the joy of doing what he loves. Welcome.
Who wrote this?
This is Miss Priyanka right here.
Very. I'm so smitten. I'm just so touched. Thank you for that.
Which is why I told you
don't deserve that.
No, you do deserve
deserve it.
that. Because like what we said before the show, Priya and I have watched you growing up and it feels like a full circle to be
Oh,
sitting
my
here.
two grandmothers saw me growing up.
Right? Do you realize how you turned this back? It's also the opposite, but again.
Yeah. He gave it
Wow.
back to us, yeah.
I really appreciate that. Let's get down to business. What do you want to talk about?
I want to ask you, you started this journey at the age of 7. And back at the age of 7, we all have wild dreams that we all dream about. They want to become a doctor, want to become a lawyer, want to do a lot of things. But very few of us stick with it for the rest of our life. So I want to know what exactly made you decide that this is something that I want to stick to, I want to continue to do.
When I discovered magic in my life, I was already a big fan of the performing arts. So in kindergarten, I was singing, I was dancing, I was doing drama. I just loved performing. And I think that a lot of performers, in some way, we are a little bit awkward. So my awkwardness was, I didn't know exactly how to make friends. And this was in kindergarten. Fast forward to primary 1, I discovered a magic book and I started just trying it out. I already loved magic. I've seen magic on TV. I've seen live magic shows, and I always thought, wow, so cool. I want to know how it's done. So when I started doing magic, it was probably not a really impressive effect, but the people around me were maybe impressed, maybe they were just being nice, but I enjoyed the feeling that they had. Not towards me, but I enjoyed creating that feeling. And I thought, wow, it's like a drug. You want to do it again and you want to try again and you want to try a different method and you want to go for a different experiment. And the next thing I knew, I'm like, this is all I want to do. This is all I knew how to do. Football wasn't good for me. I was never a computer guy. I was never a sports guy. So the arts was literally just all that I thought I was good in. And I thought, because I think I'm good in this, I'm going to put in time and work on this.
At the age of 7, when you're performing all this, right? Who was like your greatest like inspiration when it comes to like magic? I'm pretty sure so you didn't watch anything or...
I mean, at that time in 1995,
Yeah.
I only had access to TV. So it was just David Copperfield that I saw on TV, which every kid of that generation would have seen as well. It's just that feeling of, oh, I want to do magic as well. Oh, I want to be like him one day. And you just go to the library and you borrow a book and you work on your own craft and you're like, oh, it's not as big as what Copperfield did, but I'll try something else. I come from a school of self-taught magicians where it was that day and age where there was no mentorship. I did not know about magic clubs. I had no resources to fly. Like people would go to Vegas or they would go here and learn from a master, but I did not have that. Mine was purely just going to the library, borrowing book after book after book, and just trying it out. And some things fail, some things don't. And then you latch onto the things that you're good at, and then you work on that even more.
Now moving on to the part whereby you started to perform at like birthday parties and things like that from 14 onwards, right? How was that for you?
It happened by accident. It was literally, oh, you can do magic. Hey, come to my birthday party and do some tricks lah. So at that time, I was part of this tuition group, and one of the ladies who was giving tuition, her name is Gwen, or we used to call her Auntie Gwen. She said that my company was having a bit of a get together. It was in a bar in Holland Village. Can you come and do some magic? And I thought, sure, I'll
At 14?
yeah. So went to a bar,
Auntie.
perform. No, but it was not about the alcohol. It was purely about being given an opportunity to present my craft. So I went to the show. It was pretty okay, I think, but I left feeling, I like this lah.
Okay.
Shook lah, fun lah, yay! I get to go and entertain people, and people laugh, and people have that sense of wonder, and I really enjoyed it. And then it's always word of mouth. So one thing led to another, and then can you come and do this? Can you come and do that? And next thing I knew, I was doing kids parties.
This is just a fun question
Go ahead.
because I'm curious. Because now you are performing like at kids' parties, but for your birthday party, since you're already a magician,
That's a good one.
what did you envision for your own birthday parties?
I
I'm
have
curious.
never had a birthday party. I never had my 21st or so.
Interesting. Like, is it a decision
Fun
of
fact,
your
I never
own?
had a wedding. But that was COVID and a different story. There is nature, and I think by nature, I was never interested in myself. I just wanted to give. So it was never, please come to my birthday party. I want to have I was never, and it's not something to be pitiful about. It is just me. I just couldn't care. I want to go to yours and perform at yours, but I don't want to have one of my own. It's okay.
That's so interesting.
So I rarely have parties of my own. Like I have gatherings at home, and it's always just that same group of 10 friends that will come, but I don't throw parties. I'm sociable, but I'm not sociable to an extent where I like to host my own parties. I want to host yours.
Moving on, something that I really want to talk about is definitely where Priya and I got introduced to your face when we saw you on TV, because you went from doing magic tricks on your own to now being given such a huge platform on MediaCorp Vasantham. And we knew for a fact that it was a success because the show finished and then the next one started, and like it was so good to watch you on TV, because I bet, like I speak for both of us, so entertained. I think every kid watching out there at one point of time thought that they can become magicians too. I'm pretty sure. But I want to ask you, how was this journey for you personally?
It's everything I wanted. I manifested it. Like straight up. I knew that when I was doing magic as a teen, that I knew that my next goal, I need to get myself on TV. How do I get myself on TV? How do I brand myself more? How do I reach a different or wider audience? A lot of things that I feel that I might have received in my life were manifested, and at that time I did not know what manifestation was. I did not know that, you've got to envision this. It was just, to me, goal setting. Set a goal, go and do it. But that's what it was, right? So I was very lucky because I was doing a series of dramas with a wonderful man named Anbuaran, who runs Spectra Productions. So what happened was, at the age of 10, I went for an audition. We were supposed to do an acting audition. Instead of doing an acting monologue, I ended up doing what I just performed for you guys. So that is one of the effects that I've been doing my whole life. And I'm very attached to that effect because I think it's such a powerful piece of magic, because everything happens in your hands, and whatever you think about, it's just there. And it's always been there. So anyways, so I got into it. I was doing a little bit of caliphate acting here and there, always supporting roles here and there. And at that time, a magician from the States named David Blaine became really popular because of his brand of magic that people now know as street magic, which was to literally go into the streets and go and perform, and you see raw, real reactions from people. And I thought, hey, what he's doing is really good. How can we bring that to a Singaporean audience? So while I was filming a show, I went up to Aran sir, and I said, sir, can I show you some magic? And this was during lunch break. So I showed him some magic. And all I did was, every time we had a break, I was testing new material with them, right? Okay. And one day I decided to just break the question and say, sir, in the mari or show pannuva. But at the back of my head, I knew that I really wanted it. And I was praying hard that he would say yes. And this wonderful God-sent man said, let's shoot a demo. Let's figure out how this would look on film. So we were on location at a beautiful house in Potong Pasir. And he says, I want you to prep 4 or 5 different routines. And we'll have actors there, we'll have calefairs there, we'll have our crew there. You'll have about 20 people behind the scenes. Just go and entertain them. Let's see how this goes. And I did a number of different things. We cut a demo. We sent it to the channel. I think the channel was also very happy with what they saw. And they thought, okay, let's give this boy a shot. And then one thing led to another. And then Maya came about. First season was great. Second season was very tiring because second season we shot in India and we shot it in Singapore as well. It was non-stop action. We toured in India. We went to all the film sets. We met a lot of actors. And then we decided, you know what, let's give this a break. And then Maya 1, I believe, had a rerun. And then I enlisted in NS. So that became a stop for a while.
After this career in like being a magician, you went on to do hosting, you're emceeing. How did this opportunity come about? Was it something that you were always interested in?
Backstory is I've always been interested in public speaking. Anything to do with the stage. Like, so I'm a drama kid lah, you know. I used to really, really like that. So being on stage to me was something that made me feel very comfortable. And what happened was I was already booked to do a run of corporate events for dinner and dance events. So 2 days before an event organizer calls and says, hey bro, the MC cannot make it. Can you just host the whole thing for me? And I thought, yeah, sure, easy what. And I went there and I completely bombed. Like I did a terrible job. It was so bad. But then I realized that I really like this. I liked being able to take a group of people on a journey that lasts 3.5 hours, where we come together, we have fun, we eat, I give you prizes, we play some games, we've got a lucky draw, and we just have collectively a lot of fun. And it was also very intriguing for me because at the age of 21, I was hosting events for people that were in their 40s, in their 50s. And I was like, wow, you know, I can connect with this group of people. And I really appreciated that. So one thing led to another. And then I started to just do a lot more hosting. And not till a lot later, maybe it was 2014, where I realized, okay, I think magic has started to take a backseat. The hosting has taken over. And that's where I also understood that magic was purely a pedestal to move on to the next step.
But I do want to ask you, what was like the biggest challenge about like emceeing or hosting that came up once you started this career path?
I think at the start it was age, because they see a young guy and how receptive an audience. I am C-suite level. Am I going to be led through this whole experience by someone in his early 20s? So in the start, I think the age issue was there. Eventually, you make up for that. A, you grow older, so it helps. But B, they also see the quality of what you're presenting on stage. And they realize, okay, yeah, well, we're having fun. It's not just a young dude running his mouth on stage. But I never ever had a challenge specifically per se in hosting, because every show is different. Every show is a challenge. Every show is a battle. And it's really a race you're running. You know that this is your structure, but how do you engineer emotions throughout? Because in the D&D world, which is what I predominantly do, it is really about people engineering. I want to start off by making people feel I'm happy to be here. Because the truth is, it's a Friday night, it's a Saturday night. I see all these people every day of my life at work. Why am I having a party with the same people as well? So how do we make them feel that, you know, this is a nice place. I can have fun with my sisters. Priya and Priyanka, we see each other at work all the time, but it's okay. Let's have fun today. And let's root for each other and let's fall in love with the company that we have. I think that's what drives me when I try to put together a show.
Even as an entertainer, you will feel nervous, right? Is there moments where Kyle feels nervous or pressured? How do you deal with those moments?
So I work with a team of people and I work very closely with a guy named Deepak Prashad, who's an amazing DJ. Our circle of friends joke that he's my work husband because we spend a lot of time together. Deepak knows how my jitters can get to me because I can look at a crowd and I can go, ooh, whatever material I've planned today is not going to work. And then I go, shit, what am I going to do now? How am I going to entertain them? What is going to fly well with them? Some crowds like to see their friends being sabot. Some crowds like to sit down and just be entertained. Like, you just do your stuff on stage, dude. I'm just going to root for you. Other crowds want to feel that engagement. And even with that engagement, it's what kind of engagement do they really want? I get nervous all the time. All the time. I would do a really good set on stage, serve dinner. So I'm speaking from a dinner and dance perspective because that's what I do most. I would serve dinner and say, ladies and gentlemen, dinner is served. Enjoy. Bon appetit. I'll see you in 20 minutes. I'll go downstage and I'll go to Deepa and I'm like, what do I do now? Because I'm trying to constantly formulate what works best for the crowd in the next half or in the next phase of the show. And it needs to always hit a really nice big high. Like every event starts low, it's got to hit a high, it's got to crescendo into a plateau of fireworks, and it's got to end there, like your National Day parade. I'm always nervous, but I think the moment I step on stage, it disappears. It's always when I'm off stage where I'm like, oh, what do I do? And then the moment I'm on stage, there's a paradigm shift and the world changes. And it's tunnel vision. It is the audience, it is me. You become very aware of your senses. It's very religious. I feel it's a very spiritual, religious thing for me, where you're on stage and it's not a megalomaniac feeling where you want to be in power. It's not that. It's you feel everything. You feel the energy. You know this side of the crowd is great. This side of the crowd is a little more passive. So I'm going to give them a little bit more attention and I'm going to make them feel happy.
It's been so many good years of entertaining people. You are someone who I sincerely admire in this industry as well. But what are some of the significant challenges and what keeps you going till today that this is what I should fight for?
I feel that because of my lack of complacency, sometimes everything I do is a fight. Every word I'm speaking right now to you is being formulated in my head, whereby, am I saying the right thing? Or am I going to screw this up for myself? Every stage I step on always feels like a new battle all over again. The nice part about what you just mentioned was that, you had many good years of entertainment, but entertainment's always good. It is the business side of it that's tough. And sometimes in this industry, there are things where, you need validation. Without that validation, without people around you telling you that, hey, you're doing well, you lose track of what you're doing. And that's where you need to start re-engineering your head a little bit. But yeah, there's so many things that I feel that I've had to prove, whether it's racial issue. And I don't mean this on a racist scale, but sometimes when you are to approach an event or when you are to approach a group of people or whatever that you do from an entertainment perspective, culturally people would wonder, can this guy connect with this demographic group? And you will need to speak in a certain language in order to be able to connect properly with them. Can you pull this off? And then you feel that constant need to prove yourself. I've had many situations where I found myself code switching, just changing the way I sound, just to make you understand a little bit better what I'm trying to say. And it's a normal facet of life that we all go through. When I was younger, it was the age thing, like I mentioned earlier on. These girls are so young. Why are they sitting down talking to me? Where they start doubting you and then they don't see the value behind what you can actually bring. There are heaps of CEOs out there. There are heaps of revolutionary people out there that are there because of their brains and not because of their age. I have had many instances. There are times you bomb on stage, you don't do a very good show. People still enjoy themselves, but you go back and you're like, why like that? What did I do wrong? And I beat myself up a lot. I can be a bit implosive, so I can internalize it to a point whereby my wife needs to tap me and say, hey, you need to break out of this. Because then you're just simmering in that negative emotion that comes from that. Don't make this a negative thing. So I for that, I really give her a lot of credit because she can read my tells. She knows when I'm going inwards.
But I feel like that's such an interesting question. I want to dig a little deeper because I feel like when you are in the entertainment business, a certain amount of validation has to come from how the audience perceive your work because you're always trying to make other people feel good. But the reality of the situation is not everybody's going to like you. Correct. Not everybody's going to find you good. So how do you balance your skills and your talent or how good you are at your craft between getting validation from other people but also being secure in yourself?
I'm a bit of an empath. So I become very emotional. While I might not show my emotions on stage, when I step off stage, I will, Priya, I don't know if I did a good job lah. They laugh lah, but they never laugh loud enough lah. Clap, but that side never clap. Why lah? What am I doing wrong? I would do that. Okay. And I'm very blessed that the event organizers that I work with, the DJ that I work with, Deepak, these people, they know me well enough to be able to give me that validation that I need to keep me going. As an entertainer, it is not a one-man army. I am very, very blessed to have the people around me telling me that I'm good. Like, I'm going to leave here feeling very blessed today because I know that whatever I did when I was a 17-year-old has implanted something in you guys that what I did in 2006 has led to 2024, this moment. And that warms my heart. I'm truly blessed and I'm very, very appreciative of it. And I'm going to cry. No, I'm not. But I am feeling emotional.
You stepping into the radio industry, it's not saying that no one saw it coming. Of course, as an entertainer, that's something, a natural path that some of us would want to take. But I think it was so cool because people saw you from performing like live, then saw you perform on TV, and then now the next step of journey, which was going into radio, and you joined the 1FM family. How is the journey for you so far?
It came about because I knocked on doors. If you want something, you really got to work for it, right? So I knocked on countless doors. I've always wanted to be on radio since I was in primary school. I remember walking through the hallways of Stanford Primary School, what up, and pretending to be a radio DJ. Every time I heard music on radio, or even on my father's hi-fi set, I would turn the volume down. I was like, hey, and then bring the music back up. Pretend and imagine I was a radio DJ. So being on radio has always been a lifelong dream. But I never put in the amount of work needed to get on radio until I was in my teens. So I did okay for my O-levels, but it was not okay enough to enter Ngee Poly. Dragon Baby 1988 competition is like, tough,
yes.
Right? So I appealed, but couldn't go in lah. So with 17 points, I think at that time it was 9, 10 maybe?
It still remains as 9 and 10 points.
Right.
Yeah.
So funny enough, when I was still in secondary school, one of the media production, TV production modules had a final year project where they had to do a TV show. I don't know if you guys have that, where you got to produce your own TV show, 3-point camera setup. And when I was in secondary school, they invited me there to do a little bit of magic on their TV show. And that's when I was like, wow, cool. And I was walking around and then I saw a radio heat wave. Like, whoa. I want to do this in school, man. Campus radio, how cool is that, right? Because you grow up watching TV shows where over in the States, they've got their campus radios, they've got their school radio stations and whatnot, right? So I always wanted to do that. Primary school, always wanted to do radio. But then the magic career took off. The hosting thing came in later. It was 17 years old when I cut my first radio trailer, sent it out. And when I listen to it now, I go, okay, I can see why I wasn't given the opportunity. 17 years old is still very young to be on national radio anyways. And then the whole MC career took off and I just kept trying for 10 years. So from the age of 24 or 23 and a half to the age of 33 and a half, it was the constant try, refine, listen to yourself. How do you sound? How are you intonating your words? How are you presenting? How are you talking? Are you long? Are you short? You know, like there's so many little nuances that I never understood. And I needed that 10-year journey. I needed that to be where I am today because now when I listen to a talk set, I go, okay, this is much better than what my demo was 10 years ago, for sure. So I see that improvement. I was in touch with people like the Flying Dutchman, John Klaas, who then helped another lady, wonderful lady named Rose Sivam, who was also a producer on a Channel 5 show that I was working on at that time. So all these people collectively helped me out as well and try to, put in a good word and say, hey, you know what, listen to this guy, give him a shot. And I enrolled myself in the Australian radio school. Rightfully, they did not have an online Zoom course. It was, you got to fly there, you got to be there and study. And this guy, Sean Craig Murphy, Sean was saying, oh, you know what? You're in Singapore. Maybe we can put together a Zoom course. And he finally managed to find 10 other people, all in Australia, to put this Zoom course together for. I did the course. I learned heaps of stuff. And one thing that I learned that applies to every single thing that we do is always be on top of the stack even before they need you. Which means your demos are out, your CV is out, your CV needs to be right on top of the stack. The moment you've got a pile of other names there, when they need someone, it's, oh, it's not Priya, it's not Priyanka. You want to be on top of that stack. So I spent a good year or so just trying to be on top of that stack. Until one day Bernard Lim decided, you know what, I'll listen to this guy lah. Oh, okay, ask him to come see me. And then one thing led to another. I did a bit of a training session with KISS, and then I got into KISS, and then eventually moved to 1FM. So every time I step into the radio studio, the Conti, I am very thankful, very blessed. And I really put in a lot of effort. Like I research my show, I come up with stingers, I come up with different segments. I try to keep it as wild and wacky as I am.
Can I just say how proud we are to have... I know this might sound a little bit cheesy, but it's a matter of fact that the minority representation on national radio station means a lot. And I think even on events, like large-scale events, it always like makes the heart glow when you see someone who like represents, you know?
Yeah.
So in that aspect, I just want to say so proud. And I'm very sure you're working really hard and doing your best. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I can clearly tell that you are having such a great time being a radio DJ, milking that in at this point in your life. But just to tease the audience a little bit, is there a future plan that has been set, that has been manifested, we could possibly expect?
I'm at a stage of my life where I have everything that I have always wanted. The roof over my head has been paid for by entertainment. Whatever I own, whatever I have, physical stuff, has been blessed by entertainment. I have an amazing wife, an amazing family. I'm actually happy where I am. So the only plans I have right now, which is my biggest plan, which will take many years, is to just be the best father I can be to my daughter.
Aww.
That's the only thing on my mind. She's 4 months old, and that's all I want to think of. Like, I have not gone out drinking, I've not gone out. So many things I haven't done because this girl is my life now. And really, she's very... Don't make me cry, stop it.
You're making me cry.
I'm not being complacent, but I'm happy with what I have.
I think I just want to add and say that when I was 30 minutes late and you didn't look at me and go like, Priyanka, like, don't you know what I already knew that Carl was going to be a fantastic father at that point of time. You know, and I was texting him to like arrange for our radio show. One of the things he put was like, I'm just like a new father, and I could see the dedication even on the text message. So I'm pretty sure she's very, very blessed.
I hope so.
And we wish you all the best, Kyle. I
Thank
feel
you.
like
Thank you
you
so
can
much
only
for
go
joining
further
us.
and
Yeah.
we'll be rooting.
Thank you. Thank you for making me feel so pretty while sitting down. I've never sat still in one place and sat and still look pretty. So thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode as much as we enjoyed speaking to him. But here's the quote of the month. Better an oops than what if. And that brings me to the closing of this episode.
Oh, such a shame. Such a shame. But a wonderful episode nonetheless. We definitely had a great time, and we hope that you guys had a great time as well. We will catch you guys with another guest and a new cup of tea in the next episode. This is Priya
And Priyanka.
on Sit Still, Look Pretty, 'cause girl, you're more than a quick gaze.